listening to the Heartland Author Podcast. I am Aaron Apollo Camp. For today's episode, I had the honor of interviewing Beth Dana. Beth is the author of the Make Money Your Partner series of nonfiction books. I'm here with Beth Dana, the author of the Make Money Your Partner series of nonfiction books. Beth, welcome to the Heartland Author Podcast.
Aaron, thank you so much for having me here today. I appreciate it.
Okay, feel free to introduce yourself to our listeners.
Well, I'm Beth Dana. I am the author of the Make Money Your Partner book series. The series was started while I was in the financial industry, and so it's taken quite a beautiful journey to bring people to support them in healing their relationship with money.
Now, as I understand, there are 3 books in the series plus a quarterly journal. And without spoiling too much of each book, what are each of the books in your series about?
So the first one is your 30-day guide to financial wellness and healing, and they're all journal-based. So it allows people the opportunity to really do some self-discovery in each of the books. And so the first book is designed to really support people in unraveling their money story, and then moving through that, moving past that. Because it's important to acknowledge our money story and any limiting beliefs that we hold about in our relationship with money and finances, but we don't want to stay there. So that's what the first one is all about, just acknowledging. And then we have the second one, which is your 30-day guide to financial consciousness and abundance. And this is where we go through more tactical and practical things around money, allowing people the opportunity to start laying a foundation for themselves. And then the third book is your 30-day guide to financial alchemy and freedom. And this is giving people the opportunity to start tapping into their vision, what it is that they want. And so when we can really hone in on what it is that we truly want, and then look at from the money aspect and how much that really costs, it makes it that much more attainable. Because I think a lot of people think, oh, if I had $1 million, I could do X, Y, Z. Well, not necessarily will your life cost you $1 million. So when you can really hone in to what your vision's like, then you can make it that much more possible. And then the fourth one is the guide to really every aspect of our life, because money touches everything. And so, these are all practices that I've done in my life that have really supported me in manifesting the life that I have. And they're tools that I keep utilizing today. So the quarterly financial goal tracker, planner, and journal is just that. It's giving people an opportunity to set goals in every aspect of their life. So relationships and family, business and career, health, personal development, faith, contribution, and community. And so it's allowing people to then take that main goal in the quarterly and then break that into a monthly, and that's what the work is on the quarterly financial goal tracker, planner, journal. So again, money touches every aspect of our life. So as we can start healing our relationship with money, it's really amazing and quite miraculous how we start seeing our health improve, our relationships improve, our mindset improve. So the mental health that improves, it's beautiful work.
Now, for technical reasons, the quarterly journal is something that you can't really publish in ebook format because there's no way for the reader to input information into the journal in that format. But none of the other 3 books in the Make Money Your Partner series are available in ebook format on Amazon either, and all 3 of them are available only in paperback. Why did you choose the paperback only route for your series?
Well, it's just that. It's because they're all heavy journal-based text that we just don't have having it be an audible at this point is something that, it hasn't. I haven't found the right conversion. If there's a conversion out there that can allow that, but from my research and what I've looked at, having books that are heavily journal based, they don't convert right. However, I have considered doing an audio book to help at least support people and guiding them through. So kind of like a little mini coach in your ear as you do the work, because it's important for me that people are actually doing the work. It's easy to buy the book and then, it just sit and nobody actually do it. And so I have actually considered doing the audio, but in a different type of context to where people can still have the actual paperback and hear me and be their guide along the way.
I didn't realize the other 3 books in your series. I knew the quarterly journal was a journal, and the EPUB ebook file formats just simply don't allow for any user input that would be necessary for a journal type work.
That's correct. That's what I found out also. Yes. So in all of the books, they are journal based, but there's a lot of opportunity for people to connect with their finances. So there's things like grids, and there's a lot of writing, because the power of pen to paper is very valuable in the healing process, in the manifestation process, because as you're writing, it's going through you, and so it takes on a different substance, so to speak, than it would obviously doing it with the audio. So even if there were an audio component, it would still be very valuable for people to be writing in the books, so they can actually start tracking their progress and celebrating their wins along the way.
Now, there was a question I skipped over, but you kind of alluded to it kind of answered the question in the past couple of minutes, and that's, what are the goals of the Make Money Your Partner series for the reader of each series? And that's to help with, you would use the term financial wellness?
Yeah, absolutely. Each of the books takes a person through a certain journey within their relationship with money, from where they were to where they're currently at to their future. So it's a great journey, and so the overall mission for the work and the teachings of the books is to really support people in transforming their relationship with money, so that they're coming from a loving space, they're coming from a abundant space, they're coming from a well-being, because we do know the heavy stress, anxiety, depression that occurs when somebody is doesn't have a healthy relationship with money. And so these teachings really support people in creating a different relationship with money and just really what money is, because then you're doing things that are much more aligned with what your vision is and what you're doing. And so the overall, Erin, is to really support people in their wellness, in their well-being.
Now, how important do you believe financial education is?
Financial education is very important, and it's actually not as complex as the world has made it. So I think the most valuable thing that anybody can do is start. There's so much content out there to really support people in learning just the basic fundamentals of finance. And actually that's what I teach. In book 2, we go over some of the more practical components. And again, when you just learn the basic fundamentals of how to create wealth, or how to start creating a budget and these sorts of things, it really can be very simple. I think our world has made it complicated on purpose, unfortunately, and there's a reason why we don't have financial education in our school systems. But the most empowering thing anybody can do is to educate themselves.
Yeah, Beth, you touched on a very important point that here in the American school system, there isn't really any financial education taught. And having graduated from high school back in 2008, I wasn't even taught basic financial literacy, like how a checking or a savings account worked, or how credit or debit cards work, the difference between commercial and investment banking, so on. And your series goes well beyond basic financial literacy.
Well, yeah, because it's really important. One of the things that really kind of inspired me to create the series, not only my own journey and my relationship with money, but it was being in the financial industry. And I would sit in front of clients. I would teach them, basic financial educational concepts that, again, a lot of us weren't taught this in school. And they'd get really excited about that, and I'd follow up with them as a potential client, and I could hear, and just over the phone, I can hear the mindset shift already go into old beliefs and old ways of relating with money after they just got really excited about learning this new concept or this new advice. And so I was like, wow, the thing is we can learn. I think it's great to learn about financial education, and there's a lot, there's a lot of great information out there. But until we shift our mindset and until we shift our relationship with money, we still have a lot of people who are making lots of money who are very unhappy and aren't, necessarily doing great things with money. And, there's also a high suicide rate when it comes to people who are making a lot of money too. So it's not necessarily that you have to be making a lot of money, and I'm not saying that don't make a lot of money. Make what you want to make that's related to your dreams, goals, and desires. But it really comes down to our internal dialogue and our mindset when we can really start creating the sustainability, Aaron, in our life.
Yeah, and I will, because you mentioned suicide on here, I'm going to remind any of our viewers that if you or a loved one is thinking about taking your own life, call 988, which is the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. You could save your life or the life of a loved one.
Yeah, thank you for that, Aaron.
Okay, now, is the Make Money Your Partner series self-published or traditionally published?
It's actually self-published.
That comes as a bit of a surprise to me, because I wouldn't expect journal-type books or series to be something that would be self-published.
Why? I'm interested.
Usually, a lot of people would associate self-publishing with fiction books.
Oh, are you saying because of the format of it?
Yeah, because it's a journal type format.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it was quite a task to format it. I can tell you that. Yours truly right here formatted every piece of it, and so it was quite the labor of love. I looked at potentially doing the publishing route versus the self-publishing route, and when it came down to it, it was really marketing. It doesn't matter whether you hire a publisher or you do self-publishing. It really comes down to self-marketing. So I thought, well, one, I really like the labor of love I've created. I would hate for it to get botched or anything like this if I were to have it go to a publisher, and I really wanted to have them published. And sometimes, the whole seeking a publisher could take some time, and a lot of no's can occur, and I really wanted to get the work out there. So I ended up going the self-publishing route. And at the end of the day, I'm glad I made the choice, because I hear of lots of people who have gone the publisher route, and this isn't to say that it's not valuable, but it still comes down to the marketing. You're still responsible for your own marketing. So I think my advice on that would be to just do whatever feels best for you.
Now, do you plan on writing more books in the future? Whether it be inside the Make Money Your Partner series or maybe a different writing project altogether?
That's so great that you asked that, Aaron. It's when I first wrote the books, the first book in the series, I had originally gone to a friend because she had published some self-publishing books, and I said, I really want to write my story. And she's like, well, that could be quite a daunting task. Are you sure this is something you want to take on? And I was like, well, maybe not. And so that's actually, she's like, what else do you have? And I'm like, well, I've been kind of toying around with these financial journals. And she goes, well, let's do that. And so I ended up going that route. But I still have in my mind, I would love to do a book on my story. And so, all in God's divine timing will that probably occur, because I feel like probably there's more story to be told in my life where it then makes sense for it to be published. But yeah, Aaron, that's something that I think eventually I would like to share.
Now, in addition to your work as an author, you also run Wealth Living. That's spelled WELLTH. And what is Wealth Living and the immersion program it runs?
Wow, thanks for asking about Wealth Living. This has been another beautiful labor of love as well. In my journey in creating the book series, and money touching every aspect of our life, it just opened up so many, creative doors, doors in my mind, so to speak. And I started, just realizing that money touches every aspect of our life. When we can heal our relationship with money, we can heal other areas. And then I also started, really thinking about how, what we learned in our school systems aren't really things that they're important to some degree, right? But I think if we all learned a little bit more about ourselves, or emotional intelligence, or how to relate with money, or our mindset, and if we would have learned these things, how transformative our lives could be. And so, Wealth Living is like an academy. So we have an immersion program here in Costa Rica, and it's designed around 9 elements of wealth. And so we cover just about every aspect of a person's life for them to create, well-being and wholeness in their life. And it's a very heart-centered approach to our teachings. And then we have an integration piece, allowing people to really now take what they've just learned over the last 7 days and now bring it into their life. And so we've got an amazing team, board of directors and facilitators that are supporting with the efforts of this beautiful work, and we're really excited to be allowing people the opportunity to participate.
Now, in addition to the book series and Wealth Living, there's a Make Money Your Partner mini workbook, podcast, and online course. How do the mini workbook and the online course work, and what podcast platforms host your podcast?
So the mini workbook is just a free little guide. It's just some of the different pieces of each of the books that I put together as a mini workbook to support people, just to give people an opportunity to experience the work. So that's available for free. And then as far as the online course, we have the one-on-one coaching that I support people with, and that's guiding them through the book series, and but obviously in a more customized and personal touch and impact. And then we also have a group program that I'm actually going to be launching here very, very soon, and that's going to give people an opportunity to actually cover every aspect of their life. And so that'll be be something that'll be coming out very soon. And then as far as the podcast, yes, the Make Money Your Partner podcast. And this is an opportunity where I interview people and allow them to share with people, their upbringing around money, their any financial challenges or money challenges that they may have experienced in their life, and then how they overcame that, and what are they doing now, and what inspired them to be doing what they're doing now. And the reason why I'm doing it this way, and I'm very selective on who I bring on the show, and because I want it to be very real for people. I think we hear a lot of the success stories, which are great to hear, but it's always the in-between. It's always nice when we can hear people's relatability and their stories about what they overcame and how they overcome it, because we're all very similar. We all have very similar circumstances, and we can all learn from each other. And so the more we can share that we've experienced a difficulty with money or finances, we're human. It humanizes it. It allows us to have the conversation more openly, or ask for financial mentorship more openly, and instead of it being something that's feared or ashamed or this sort of thing. And so I hope that the platform allows people, it empowers them and inspires them to really want to take that on, whatever that looks like, and get the support that they want and need. And the platform that I use is we're on Spotify, and I do that through Anchor.
Oh, and the Heartland Author podcast is also hosted by Anchor.
Awesome.
So it's very fun to interview someone who also runs an Anchor podcast.
Yeah, I really like that platform. It's easy to use. I can literally record from my phone if needed, if I don't have my laptop. And I always think the sound quality is really great. It's easy to use. And so if anybody's ever looking to do a podcast, I always refer them and recommend Anchor, because it's so user-friendly. And, it's you don't need all these bells and whistles, right? You can definitely do it on your own if you wanted to, just to get started.
Now, one last thing. The biography on your website lists you as not only an author, but also a humanitarian. If you've done any humanitarian work in the past, what kind of humanitarian work have you done?
Oh, well, it's like I've just my growing up, I think it all kind of started. I would go down with my church I grew up in Southern California, and I'd go down to Tijuana, Mexico, and serve at some underprivileged, underserved communities and areas, and we would go down there, and that kind of really struck my love for humanity and supporting people and with where they're at. And since then, I'm here in Costa Rica. I've supported some organizations here in Costa Rica. I've also done the book series. We had it translated in Spanish, and did workshops for some of the locals here. And then I visited India, served at the Mother Teresa House in Calcutta, and that was just an amazing experience. I think any time that we can really bring ourselves to be of service and just lead with love, it's life-changing. It's life-changing. And so, anywhere that I generally go, I'm just like, how can I serve? So there we go.
Well, Beth, that was the last question I had, so I thank you for appearing on the Heartland Author podcast.
Well, thank you, Aaron. I really appreciate being here on your podcast. Thank you for the opportunity again, and thanks for your community and all that you're doing to support authors in their work. So thank you.
Beth was a wonderful guest, and it's always wonderful to interview a fellow podcaster on here. I'll link to the Make Money Your Partner website in the text description of this episode, as there are a ton of resources on her website. This is Aaron Apollo Camp reminding y'all to write your imagination. Bye for now. You can learn more about me and my book writing projects at campaaronapollo.wixsite.com/authoraac. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at authoraac and on Instagram at aacscribe. You can learn more about me and my book writing projects at campaaronapollo.wixsite.com/authoraac. You can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at authoraac and on Instagram at aacscribe. Copyright 2022, Aaron Apollo Camp, all rights reserved. This podcast episode is intended for the private listening of our audience. Any reuse or retransmission of this podcast episode without the express written consent of the podcast host is prohibited, except under fair use guidelines. Royalty-free music and sound effects obtained from https://www.zapsplat.com.